We're back, RJ. Unfortunately,
Yes.
the Kraken may not be. Like, I don't know that they got the memo about like vacation time is over, hockey games need to be played. That was that was like one of the worst games they've played all season.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, there's no real way to sugarcoat it. That was just a flat out bad game from the Kraken. You can kind of chalk it up to rust maybe in the first period. I was really worried about the start of this game just because the Kraken hadn't played for 10 days. The Islanders played last night. That's usually not a good recipe. I tweeted out earlier today the Kraken stats after a 4+ day break. It's not good in their history. And then, they came out for the second and third, and it was more of the same. So just an overall bad effort. You kind of want to flush that one.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff we'll end up going over, I am sure, but just on a whole, I mean, it was they looked rusty at the beginning, but then it was like, oh, I think there might be like more going on here. There's a lot of lineup changes, some of that intentional, some of it just because, Berkey gets hurt like right away and that kind of throws things out of whack. I don't know though. That was a lot. Hopefully it was just that, one game, kind of burn it, get used to playing again, get back into the NHL everyday mode, because you got back-to-backs coming up on Thursday and Friday. So definitely have to have the short memory after this one. But it was an interesting game. There's some stuff to talk about. Want to check in with everybody though, because obviously missed talking to all of you. Coop, we waited 10 whole days for that. Yeah.
Sure did.
That's the way it is. Tammy, tough night. Mistakes were made. They were. They definitely were. We'll talk about some of those later. I've got the whiteboard ready, everybody. Let me tell you. Lindsay, the curse continues. Still winless when coming off 4+ days of rest. Yes. And now, fortunately, that's not a scenario an NHL team finds themselves in too often over the course of a season. So if we're gonna have to like be really bad at something, it might as well be the thing that's only gonna happen like 2 or 3 times a year, right?
Yeah, the total record over a season and a half is 0-3-1. So that's 4 games total, over a season and a half. It doesn't happen very often. I don't think they have another one of these stretches for the remainder of the season. So that's good news. I don't know if sometimes for the playoffs, if you'll get a 4 days off. I don't think it's that many, but something to monitor there.
only if you like if you like swept your series and then your opponent ends up going 7. That's the only time that kind of happens, in which case,
you'll take it.
You kind of take that. Yeah. So, all right. So I see all the next comments are about the defense. And so before I get into that, because that's what I've got the whiteboard out for, the defense, I specifically put on the Larson shirt just so I can kind of quick give everybody my impression of all those like Larson interview faces that he does. So
here we go.
Let's see how I do, just in response to, I'm sure, how Larson's feeling about the rest of the Kraken defense tonight.
All right, Dylan.
He always gets the, and then he just.
There it is. That's the face. I don't know how you're keeping a straight face. That is perfect.
That's what the big cat does, and that's the kind of glare I want to give because
I'm screen capping that. I'm using that on Twitter so often.
Go for it. Everybody, feel free. That's
we needed that tonight.
Just go for it. Because the Kraken defense was really, really rough tonight. We got to see Jacob Megna getting it right. Still haven't said Jason yet. We got to see Jacob Megna. We saw for the first time all season, RJ, like the D pairs really shifted up and shuffled up, I should say, and not great. So let me get all of my little green magnets here. I want to do this. I don't know if I was. I'm like feeling especially mean tonight. So like if I was the video coach for the Kraken, I'd try to do all this like Dora the Explorer Blues Clues style, like a little kid show where it's like, is this what we do? No, and make everybody respond. But let's talk about the first goal from I think it was the second goal that the Alexiak Borgen pair allowed. But this was basically the basic setup was anybody out there, should this ever happen, where you have the center Wenberg is fighting off into the corner, and then the Islander moves the puck to go behind the net. Borgen chases the puck. Oleksiak chases the puck. And now all of a sudden you have all three people who are responsible for the front of the net below the goal line. Is this what we do?
No.
Like I don't know what was going on there, what was going through their minds. I'll kind of chalk that one up to just like, Oleksiak doesn't know if that puck's going to get all the way through, if Borgen's going to be able to stop it. Like, you have to make that kind of split second read, like whatever. On the other one though, and I believe this was the Horvat goal, which was goal number 4 for the Islanders, which, by the way, the fact that the Islanders were able to get 4 goals in a game, I'm really upset about that. Had to come against us. And this was against the Megna Susi pairing. Okay. Megna's playing the well, I guess everything's going to be flipped for you guys. So let me see if I can do this right. So this is where they should be when play is in the defensive zone coming off the faceoff, is they should be like setting up there, especially because we saw, Horvat makes his way across ice here. Instead, because of the faceoff, you get Susi tied up over here, and then Megna chases play up here, and you've got your defenseman end up being like something like that. And again, is that what NHL defensemen are supposed to do? No, like it was just basic stuff, and it was so like preventable, and it just frustrated me a lot. But I see everybody talking about, especially that Oleksiak Borgen D pairing. I'm with you, Lindsay. Never again. I think they're the two guys on the Kraken that kind of struggle the most with making those split second reads, like we saw in that one goal. And so having them together was just like, it was just not good. It was not good at all.
Yeah, 23% expected goal share, which is up from 9% after 2 periods. So in the time where the game was somewhat competitive, it was about 10%. That's not good.
No, it was really rough. Coop with the Oleksiak stood out to me as playing pretty poorly. Agreed. X-Kid Z knows the same thing. Already read Lindsay's comment there. X-Kid Z, though, pointing out at least Beniers looked good.
He did. He looked like he had some extra jump after missing a couple games, with that upper body injury. Actually, I don't even think we ever got an official, tag on it, but he looked like he had some extra jump, especially early in the game. So good to see that from him. Looked 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he looked really good, was helping to make chances. I kind of liked that line too. Like I like him with Donato. I really do. We could talk about Donato in a little bit because he also had some plays that really excited me that I want to talk about. Chris, can only blame the layoff, I think. See you all at MSG on Friday. We'll have fun, Chris. That sounds like a good time. I do think that because it's that first game back, I think we can blame the layoff. We'll see what kind of adjustments they make lineup wise before Thursday. I mean, I don't know. The Berkey thing kind of throws things back out of whack. Do you think that we'll see a different lineup or different lines, different D pairings come Thursday? Or do you think Hackstall's going to want to just throw this game out because of the layoff and kind of start fresh on Thursday with it all?
I think he's going to look at it differently as far as the forward lines versus the D pairs. The D pairs, I could see him giving another shot if Justin Schultz isn't ready yet. He spoke glowingly this morning of the Oleksiak Borgen pair. I know. So we'll see if he wants to give him another shot. I know he doesn't like to rock the boat as far as the D pair. So I could see that stay the same, especially, with Megna Susi. Maybe you don't want Megna to have 2 different D partners, 2 different games, in his first 2 games. So maybe you want some stability there. I think the forward lines, we might see a bit of a shakeup, certainly because personally, I don't expect Andre Burakovsky to be back for the next game. I don't know. Whenever that we don't know, we don't have any update, but we all saw it. Those non-contact injuries are scary. I never liked the look of something like that. And it seemed like he was in some pain there. So I think they might have to make a change forward wise. And, after this game, you shouldn't be that resistant to it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go ahead and talk about Megna because see Tammy saying he looked solid downstream. What are your guys' thoughts on Megna? Do you want to kick off that conversation about Jacob Megna, RJ?
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a start. So I liked generally what I saw from Jacob Megna. I mean, he basically came as advertised in this game to me. He's not going to be, a game breaker. He's not going to be someone who's, going to be skating the puck the length of the ice like his D partner in San Jose, Erik Karlsson. But I like that he made safe plays out of his zone. He was pretty solid positionally. I did a little, kind of minute long just breakdown of one little play that he made where he has good instincts as far as, reading the different sides of the ice, pressuring the puck carrier, but then seeing the passing option there and then making a safe play pass out of his own zone, not getting too rattled by pressure. I was happy with what I saw. And honestly, on that Megna Susie pair, I don't know that I love that pairing together. Susie kind of looked like the weak link to me.
Yeah. And I mean, it was one of those where, yeah, I felt like, and that's part of that is because Susie's moved sides, right?
Right. And that's always tough when you're playing on your offside. Yeah.
Right. So I will give Susie that kind of benefit of the doubt, but I agree with you. I thought Jacob Megna was probably their third best defenseman tonight. And you know what? Look, I'm looking at the ice time numbers right now. He got shorthanded time on ice. He got, he got time on the penalty kill. He played more than Alexiak or Borgen.
Yeah, and you look at the D pair stats too. I think Susie Megna played more than Alexiak Borgen. Just about 20 seconds more over the course of the game.
Right. And so I think that's Hackstall kind of recognizing, as he does over the course of a game, he wants to play the hotter hand, so to speak. But I thought Megna played a really solid game. I was very impressed with what I saw from him in the sense that, yeah, this is just a kind of a safe guy. I just, demonstrated on the whiteboard the one time he kind of chased a play. They overloaded the side. It came back to bite them on that Horvat goal. But that kind of stuff happens. What I saw from Megna tonight looked like a very reliable third pairing defenseman. This is the kind of guy that you can play 18 minutes a night and generally nothing bad is going to happen. He's going to be able to be solid for you. He can help move the puck out of the zone. If you need him to flex out onto the penalty kill, he can. And given what they gave up to get him in just a 4th round pick, given the contract he's under, not just for this year, but also for next year, I was very, very impressed by his debut, and he's only going to get more comfortable as he gets a regular defensive partner, as he gets used to the overall Kraken system and scheme. Like, we didn't really see him do anything in the offensive zone. Got to think with Dave Hackstall as his coach, that'll start evolving as he just gets more and more used to being around everybody, gets some more practices in, all of that kind of stuff. So I think this was a very, very good start to Megna's Kraken career. Very, very happy with it. Emmy Chan, I couldn't catch the game thanks to college. Kind of glad, not gonna lie. I will say this: if you had to miss a game because of class, this was an okay game. So
yeah, you got a good one to miss.
I was gonna say that's you're all right. Andy, rough loss for a pretty important week of games because those games in hand on LA are being played this week. That is true. It's one of those like games in hand are one of these fantastic things to have because it means you control your own destiny. You've got that kind of buffer. But when it comes time to then go and play those games, you cannot waste and squander them, kind of like they did tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at with other members of the division. I mean, I'm looking at Golden Knights ahead here in the 3rd period. Oilers with a win already. You've got those teams continuing to bank points. Yeah, you've got to keep up with the games that you have.
Absolutely. Cole face-off win differential was terrible. Yeah, it just updated for me after the game was over. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it's up to 41% for the Kraken, which is a little more in line with kind of where they normally fall when it comes to face-off win percentage. So it wasn't like exceptionally bad for them tonight, but it did seem like, every time Bo Horvat in particular was out there, he was just winning a big time draw for the Isle.
Yeah, exactly. And especially the important face-offs, the offensive defensive zone draws, the Kraken lost a lot of those.
Yes. And that's kind of been their struggle is they can be in that 45 to 50% range. But if you're losing kind of those key ones, the bottom line is they still just don't have somebody that they can go out there and dependably lean on for a big time face-off. Right. And Matty Beniers continues to struggle, only 22% tonight. I know it's just his first year in the league, and this can be a 3-year thing. I talked about that like way back at the expansion draft. For new guys coming in the league, generally give them 3 years before they're going to kind of reach that the top of their face-off game. But it's been rough for Matty so far this rookie season for him. Ty looking pretty flat tonight. Yikes! Wipe it and move on. Berkey is going to hurt the offense. Yeah, that one. I mean, obviously, we hope he's okay. We hope for the speedy recovery, but I mean, just looking at things, obviously, nobody got anything going offensively tonight, but that's been an issue for the Kraken kind of going into the break. RJ, was where we were going to find consistent offense. I know he's struggled with the consistency along with everybody else, but you had to think having a guy like Burakovsky around is better than not.
Absolutely. And just, the fact you kind of put him wherever he needs to be, and especially with Beniers there too. I like the chemistry with kind of Donato being in that playing spot duty with Beniers, but still very different players as far as what they can do. They're going to miss Burakovsky for as long as he's out. Hopefully it's minor, and especially given the score of the game, they kind of ruled him out at the second intermission to, maybe partially precautionary, but again, I don't know. I don't like the look of it. Yeah, but thankfully, the Kraken have the best forward depth in the NHL. So of all the teams that are equipped to deal with it, the Kraken are one of the best.
Right. I mean, there was a lot of people upset on Twitter, on Discord about the idea of Sprong being a healthy scratch tonight, or being scratched because of a sunburn, one way or the other. But that's to be able to have that be your kind of fallback option is one of your most productive offensive weapons all year. One of the most efficient players in the NHL as far as productivity versus time played. That's not a bad, break glass in case of emergency kind of situation to go back to if you're the Kraken. So you just roll back out there with Sprong. We'll see what he does. I did understand kind of why he was the healthy scratch over a guy like a Ryan Donato. Certainly Geeky, you need him down the middle. And so I'll just go ahead and take this time to talk about Donato. I thought Donato played arguably his best game as a Kraken. I know he's had multi-goal games and everything as a Kraken before, but I say that because the only couple times where the Kraken ever felt dangerous to me, it was because of Ryan Donato. And so I like the energy he brings. I love him on the forecheck. That's always been the thing I've talked about. I think Tolvanen's exceptionally good on the back check over a Sprong. I think Donato's got the forecheck over a Sprong, and that's kind of why those guys seem more lineup locks in Dave Hackstall's opinion. That's my guess, is what he's playing off of. But if everybody has time, so later on tonight or tomorrow or something, or maybe we'll try to clip it and put it out on the ECH Twitter. At 11:45 in the third period, Jordan Eberle gets the Kraken's best shot all night long. That's the one where he kind of gets the puck behind the net and then comes out to the side and tries to kind of roof it up over Sorokin's shoulder. It's at 11:45. What makes that work is Ryan Donato has both Islanders defenders completely tied up physically in front of the net and pulled off towards Sorokin's right side. So it left the left side completely open for Eberle to do whatever he wanted. And it wasn't just that Donato ties up both of those defenders. It's because Donato also gains the Kraken possession of the puck before that, coming in really hot and heavy on the forecheck. He's able to pressure, I forget which defenseman it is. I think it was Pelech, into the corner, lose possession of the puck. He knocks Pelech way out of the way. It might have been Polak. It was one of those two. Knocks him way out of the way, takes the puck back, gets the kind of cycle going. Immediately, once the puck leaves his stick, he goes and starts ticking off both defenders out front now, because that defender's, Pelech or Polak has gone back over there, and he gets both of them to just entirely commit to him. He just becomes like a Donato sandwich between these two defenders. But it was perfect, and it created, like I said, kind of the only dangerous looking shot and chance for the Kraken all night long. Legit dangerous shot was all just because of the hustle of Ryan Donato on the forecheck and just his smarts and willingness to go net front and kind of play that role that really nobody else on the Kraken was willing to play tonight. And that's why I think he was rewarded with the 20 minutes plus of ice time.
That's right. Over 20 minutes of ice time. That is the second highest ice time total in a game in his NHL career. So that should tell you a lot about what Dave Hackstall thought of his game. I don't know that I'd go as far as best game as a Kraken. That's, he's had some other really good games, but I respect it. And I think that he had another great, Ryan Donato hustle characteristic effort. Yeah. 297 career games. This is the second most ice time in a game for him. So big effort, big game from Ryan Donato, a positive spot in what was otherwise a pretty bad game.
Right. And if ice time's always given out and Dave Haxtell, who's playing well, land, then I mean that's indicative of how he maybe his second best game.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe. I mean, that game was with Minnesota a few years ago, the #1
yeah.
game.
See, so according
maybe
to
best. Yeah.
Dave Haxtell logic, I'm applying Dave Haxtell logic to this situation. The only way we kind of can, and that's the only conclusion I can draw.
And well,
Go
I,
for
I
it.
think it also just speaks to the kind of the gap too, as far as where Haxtell sees Donato versus Sprong right now. You had Donato playing over
Yes.
20 minutes tonight, and Sprong in his last game in the lineup played under 9. So his ice time had kind of been tapering off prior to this scratch. So I think he's got to come back in and and prove it yet again. He's done it so many
Yes.
times, but yeah, he's got to do it again.
Poor Daniel Sprong. That's just the story of his career. I had mentioned that on Discord. Yeah, 2 of his last 5 games had been under 10 minutes of ice time for Sprong, kind of coming into this. So yeah, not a total surprise given the healthy scratch status tonight. Coop, I can only imagine what we would be like with a 2.3 goals against average and a 935 save percentage goalie like Sorokin. We might be undefeated, or we'd be like Boston. We'd have like a handful of losses, and that's it.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. I mean, we saw how good Sorokin, has played in this game. Like even when the Kraken were putting on some pressure and everything, the saves on Wenberg, like he's just this cure-all for any kind of defensive woes. And as bad as the Kraken play defensively sometimes, he's just good enough. I think it would make up for that. Most goalies will kind of make it fair as far as how you play in front of them. Sorokin transcends that. You look at his numbers too, with 2.3 goals against average, 935 save percentage, and he's barely got a winning record.
I was gonna say he was 500 coming into this game, basically. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, the bottom line is Kraken would be very, very good. We would have a lot of points in hand in first place in the division if the goaltenders were able to give us that. Let's talk about goaltending. Martin Jones, I mean, some of it really wasn't on him. The defense in front of Martin Jones tonight looked really, really bad. So I'm not going to totally blame Martin Jones for the 4 goals against. However, I talked about the idea of maybe using this break as a reset, come back out. Let's see if we can, Grubauer's been the better goalie of late, even though he's had less chances to prove it. I really wanted to see kind of Grubauer coming out in that kind of 1A position after this break. Do you think that maybe this game will send Haxtell in that direction?
Maybe. I thought we might see it kind of before this game. I mean, that's the unfortunate part. We learned about it this for Grubauer. We learned about it this morning, where this shows Haxtell still sees Martin Jones as the starter because you got back-to-backs coming up. Those are a split. Your starter starts tonight's game. That's just how you see it. Your starter starts tonight's game, and that's still Martin Jones. So we'll see if this game changes anything. But like I said, I think before the break, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I still think that the W's rule all in Haxtell's mind, unfortunately. But, we'll see how both of them play. We got back-to-backs on Thursday and Friday. Both goaltenders are presumably going to get a crack at those, so we can kind of see how they handle that situation. Do you think you lean one way or another versus New Jersey, given kind of how hot New Jersey is?
Oh, there was something about one of the goalies. I think it was a Grubauer who hadn't lost to New Jersey before. I look at the career splits again. I look back at the game against New Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a safe way to do it. I'm fine with that. Super chat here from Jeremiah. How's it going, Jeremiah? It's good to see you. Hope you had a nice little break here. Accidentally took some Tylenol PM and slept through most of the game. Looks like the Kraken did too. Keep up the great work, Dylan and RJ. Well, thank you very much. I'm right there with you. Those things, they help out a lot. I got my Kirkland knockoffs right here.
Wow, right there
on my desk. I know it's one of the few things that really helps me sleep. I don't know what it is. Fun fact, everybody, you know what the sleeping agent in it is? Benadryl. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. That's what's in Tylenol PMs. It's Tylenol and Benadryl put together. Thank you very much for the super chat, though. Really appreciate it. And like I said, hope everybody had a good break these last couple games.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremiah.
This last week or so. Gary, hockey is still fun. We have lots of games left. Absolutely. This is a one-off, Gary. I'm sure of it. We've been around the Kraken enough to know that this season. I feel like all of us.
Oh, yeah.
We've experienced enough. Also, Gary, some really good chances, but Sorokin was insane. UBS Arena posts not helping us either. I know we hit 2 posts, I think, or we had 2 posts and then they hit 1 post in. So it was like 3 negative post experiences for us in this game.
And then, yeah. And then the Barzal one the other way too. But still,
yeah.
lots of posts tonight.
It was, yeah, there were a lot. We got magnets in there, I guess. DJ and Tay, my sarcastic take, it feels like the Kraken struggled at putting the puck on net. May need to work on that for next time, or in the net. May need to work on that for next time. Yeah, I think that's a safe one to say. Cole, could be due to lack of chemistry, new lines together after a long break. Not always going to work right away. I do think that there's something to that. You got the practice in kind of yesterday. You get a morning skate today. It's not a lot of time to develop chemistry with each other.
And even less time because you prepare to have the lines a certain way, and then you lose one of your biggest ice time forwards 20 seconds into the game. So that just adds to the difficulty. I've got to think having at least a practice and a morning skate where you have the lines you're going to have in the game is going to help a lot more going forward.
Yeah, I think so too. We'll find out. Like I said, some of them worked. To me, the larger concern was the D pairs. Like, I think the offense will fix itself. We're not going to see this kind of performance from everybody going forward. Usually, the D pairs were the thing that concerned me a little bit more. Coop, Beniers needs to play with Ebbs. I feel like Ebbs always feeds Maddie's goals. Your thoughts on that, RJ?
I do think there is some good chemistry there. I mean, Eberle was with Wenberg, right, tonight. Yeah. So I don't like those two together as much. I think there's more chemistry with Beniers there. I do agree with your take. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, for that one chance I talked about with Donato, that was with it was Donato, Eberle, and Maddie out there on the ice together. There you go. I do think for that. So yeah, if assuming Maddie was that third player out there on the ice, then yes, I 1000% agree with you. There's just something there. We need to make it happen. It was a little confusing, and I think that's just because of the Berkey injury, that it was hard to kind of totally figure out what the lines always were supposed to be, just because everybody was kind of having to make up that ice time. We haven't talked about him yet, but Jaden Schwartz kind of quietly, really good game. First game back for him as well. I thought he played really solid. It kind of shows in the stats. He had, decent amount of shots. He played defensive. He had the 3 blocked shots as well. And then obviously being a plus minus 0 on a night where you go down 4-0 with 4 even strength goals is nothing to sneeze at in and of itself. I really think this team is better when Jaden Schwartz is in the lineup.
For sure. I mean, there's a reason that Hackstall kind of refers to him as the line fixer. He fixes any line that he's on. He always brings that same thing every night, that consistency. And you see it in a game where a lot of the players were bad, but he wasn't on the ice for any of the goals against, and just consistently doing his thing and bringing some stability whenever he was out there.
Yeah, definitely. So a really good game from him. DJ and Tay can't blame Jones for giving up 4. Defense did him no favors. Without some great effort plays from Jones, it's 7-0. Like I said, I agree. Jones was in there. He was solid in what he could be solid for. Like, you look at like that first one from Bolduc, there's no way of stopping that. There's no way he sees that. Like, I'm sure he's still looking at replays. Like, where did that?
I don't know how it got through 5 people. I still don't understand that one.
You said it best on the tweet. It just had eyes. And then other ones you look at, I think it was the Holmstrom goal, where again, you have your center and both defensemen nowhere to be found. He's just walking in on you. There's nothing you can do. The Horvat goal, again, there's nobody there to help you. You're just going to stick somebody with 31 goals already this season, just wide open in front of you. You're going to get picked apart. It's just the bottom line. So, I definitely think this isn't one that I would pen on Jones, but I do still think that Grubauer deserves that shot.
Yeah, definitely. And after that 4th Islanders goal too, there was a lot of game left, and he stopped every shot after that. And there were some good chances there too.
Yeah, for sure. Andy, rough loss during a week of very important games, given that the games in hand on LA are being played. Oh, I just read that one already.
Yeah.
Let's see, Stratic. If this is what happens when you take Daniel Sprung out of the lineup, do you think he will be back next game? We kind of talked about it before. He'll be back because, if Burakovsky can't go, it's possible he'd be back anyway. But, looking at the winger situation, RJ, with a Jaden Schwartz back, unless Berkey can't go, you can't take Donato out. You're not going to take Tolvanen out. He had 5 shots on goal. Like, I don't know who you'd take out to bring him back.
Yeah, there's nobody. I mean, Geeky would be the biggest argument, but he's a center, and then you got to move like Donato into center, and you don't want to mess with that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Burakovsky somehow is able to come back next game. Wouldn't surprise me if Sprong was still out.
Yeah. Although that's going to be a big if. It seems like for Burakovsky. Looks like Gary there is talking about it. Absurdly saying Spronger's sunburn should be healed by Thursday, so we should be golden. Yeah, and he'll be golden too. Yeah, hopefully he's one of those people that kind of tans after the burn. We'll find out. Alan, we don't get shut out often, but when we do, pain. It's true. I mean, this is only the second time this season, everybody. Let's all just take a moment to, feel how blessed we are this season. Have only 2 shutouts against after last year. But it's never a good feeling, RJ.
No, it's really not. You're always waiting for that first goal of the game to really get into it, and when it just never comes.
Especially in a game like this, like you would have loved to get one late just to be like, all right, we did it for next time. Like we can build off of that next time, get that late goal. But just didn't happen, unfortunately. Let's see. Rebecca Donato had a pretty good first game as a Kraken, to be honest, going way back. Yeah, agreed. Scored that first goal in franchise history. Hockey Fork, thanks for watching the game so I don't have to, like the stream, jerks. Well, you're welcome, and I guess thanks for the help there. I'll say. Got the Sin City in here. Hey, you watching the Vegas game with all the smirks? We still got games in hand. We're fine. Joey, defense looked horrible. It did. That's still like the thing to talk about with this game, RJ. I think it's the number one. We talked about it with Jones. We talked about it with the pairings. I just think that's the only real takeaway you can have from this game. It's just that the defense didn't seem ready to play tonight.
Oh, they didn't. And it was the kind of thing that we remember a lot from last season. And just generally when the Kraken aren't playing their game, I mean, that was kind of what was clear at the start of the game. It's like, yeah, this isn't who they are. And it always manifests itself in a pretty similar way, leaving guys wide open in front of the net in the slot, not, doing your assignments properly, getting lost behind the net. It's all the stuff that if you were with us last season, that we covered over and over again.
I was going to say, were you having Lauzon flashbacks? Cause I was.
Yeah, just a little bit. So I think we've at least been inoculated against it a little bit just from having seen it so much last season, that we kind of roll with the punches. You're like, okay, look, this isn't who they are this year. But yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, wanting to keep the pairs together, especially for a Megna, see if he can, then develop chemistry with somebody. But like, I don't know. It might be better to just go ahead and switch him to somebody new before he builds any chemistry with Susie.
Yeah.
This is gotta, if anything, just to break up the Borg and Alexiak thing. What do you think of Susie playing on the offside? Do you think that kind of is signaling from the coaching staff that like, hey, is he going to be odd man out if when Justin Schultz comes back?
I don't think that that's necessarily a signal of that. I think it's just Megna, it being his first game with the Kraken, you want to make him as comfortable as possible. You're going to put the guy who already has a bunch of games under his belt with these teammates on this team on his offside. It's going to be a tougher adjustment. You want to give that to the guy who can maybe handle it a little bit better than the guy who's playing the first game for you. Also, because line rushes at practice yesterday, when they had Schultz in, I believe had Megna as the odd man out, because it was Megna Fleury on that fourth D pair. So that's what I'd expect to see once Schultz comes back.
Okay, just had to ask the question there.
Good question.
Who knows, right? We talked about it with trade deadline and everything. Susie could be the person if the Kraken make a move going out too. Duthin with a super chat, thank you very much. Pouring one out for the Lime chemistry getting scrambled early with Berkey getting hurt. I hope he comes back and they can sync up on this trip. Definitely. I mean, it's tough too because they're on the road, so it's not even like the full media contingent can get in there. Let me go deal with Afra. You can take over for a sec.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the chemistry issues, like 20 seconds into the game, when you lose a forward that's as valuable as Burakovsky, it's going to make a big difference. I see Dylan having dealt with the Afra issue there. Yeah, I don't see on camera there. Hey, Dylan, how'd it go?
Good. I just had to let her out of the room. So yeah, that's what RJ said.
Absurdly saying, "There's my girl, Tammy Afra."
I know she was.
Duthin agrees with that.
Excited to be back. Yep. Thank you again for the super chat there. Donnie, welcome back, Kraken Hockey. It wasn't pretty, but it was the first game back after a long all-star break. The team will snap back with some major fire fuel from a Hackstall butt chewing. Yeah, that could be the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know that Hackstall's gonna, make the message quite clear that that level of play is not acceptable. It's happened, so far a lot this season where whenever they have an off game like this, they come back, really motivated. So I'm eager to see what they do next game.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of responding all year long. We've always played this Devils group pretty solidly too, so I'm looking forward to that as well. And speaking about people bouncing back,
Hey, there she is.
she's back. What's up? Did you do it? You took care of everything? Thank you.
I think we need some after that game.
I was gonna say, where's your bag of treats? Where'd that get off to? I'll give you some goodies here. Let's see. Donnie Darko as well agreed. Ebbs is definitely Maddie's big brother and is always looking to feed him the puck. So some more agreement there. And then there we go. There you go. Get some goodies. Get some goodies,
Yes.
Afra. You've earned them. It's your first day back too. I get it. You're nervous. Gonna ignore the Sin City here just because that's not news we need after a game like this.
Hey, I mean, I saw our buddy Ken from Sinbin.Vegas, like on Twitter the last couple days, he's been tweeting about rebuild plans and how the Golden Knights need to rebuild. Like that seems to be the conversation in Vegas land.
Even as they ascend back up the standings there. Interesting. Donnie, it looked like Berkey tweaked his groin. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was so hard because then they go to like the replay to show us, and it's like off camera from the first replay, and then the other one's from like a mile and a half back. So it was really hard to get a read on if it was that, if it's anything else. I just not going to speculate, but again, it's frustrating that they have to be on the road for this. So it's not like the media you guys can all be there like just constantly.
I know I'd be on top of it. But,
give us something. Of course, all they'd ever give us is lower body anyway. Edward, cut the third period video via radio on my way home from work. At least most of the third until my phone decided to shut itself down. You didn't miss much, Edward. Gotta tell you.
Your phone had enough too, I think.
Yeah, it was just trying to save you. Let's see. Kraken's still first by points percentage by a fair margin. Stratic pointing out. Agreed. I still think that the Kraken are in really good shape as far as everything goes. I'm willing to just chalk this one up to the 4 days off curse and move on from there. Rebecca, I think the Preds outdid the Kraken in sleeping through their game today. I wouldn't get too excited as a Vegas fan. Lol. A snap. Nice one, Rebecca. Susie laid a solid hit like he's feeling the heat of being traded, and I love it from Donnie. I mean, do you think like he has to know that his name would be floated out there amongst anybody being traded from this team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I the players hear that stuff. You can't really avoid it in this day and age with social media and everything. Even if you're not checking Twitter or whatever, people are. They're seeing that. You're talking to people. He knows what the discussion is, and your contract's up. That's something any player is going to know. You're talking to your agent about what the situation is.
Yeah, I agree. Stratic, Hackstall is the team of butt chewing, and Daniel Sprong an apology, in my opinion, like a formal apology on good stationery. Wow. And I watched something the other day, RJ. Apparently the king of all stationary things is a laminator. So Stratic, does he need to laminate the apology?
Laminated.
Be interesting. And then Devil's Joint, better be ready for Friday and Striatic with the Cryptid Cup coming up. That's right. I don't know what the record is all time because I forget what our first game in New Jersey ended up being last season. But I know the last two meetings we've done all right. Picking up.
They lost that game in New Jersey. It was on that first road trip where they did not do well. The first road trip in team history.
Yeah.
If you remember that one, all the way back.
I was gonna say that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was their fifth game in franchise history. Yeah.
All right, but we're still then 2-1 all time in the Cryptid Cups against the Jersey Devils. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, and hey, better be ready for Friday. We are ready for Friday. We're eager to forget the game that just happened.
I was gonna say, yeah,
and we know the Kraken are going to come out motivated. So I'm already ready for Friday.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I keep hearing that this Jack Hughes is good, and I keep seeing that he has numbers, but then whenever we play them, he just kind of disappears. So
Well, don't go back to that game because he was taken out with an injury in the first one. I
well,
know
yeah,
Devils
not
fans
that
are
one
said
way
it
back
just kind
then.
of disappears. That was Lausanne actually who did that one.
Yes, not that. I just meant like in the other games we played him, he hasn't really like scored. Like last game,
Yeah.
he played like 20 minutes and didn't do anything. So.
Yeah, no, I was watching for him too, the game in Seattle, and just
Mhm.
nothing jumped out the page at me. I mean, I've seen his highlights. I know he's a heck of a player. Just for whatever reason, those games against the Kraken, nothing.
Just saying. If the lamination is somehow classy, then yes. Is lamination never not classy? Just saying. Let's see. Dutch letters too. Surely there's a Dutch bakery somewhere in New York. I would assume so. Yes, I'm
Oh
certainly
yes,
saying.
I
Let's
mean
see. The
New
Devils.
Amsterdam.
Yes, the Devils have only played one game not in overtime since the last time they played Seattle. So what you're telling me is the Devils should be very tired. That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot of games. They're also not pulling away from anybody. I know that he's got the third most goals in the league. I'm just saying I haven't. Every time I watch the Devils, he doesn't do anything. So just
yeah.
saying.
Wow, yeah, I'm looking at the Devils schedule. Shootout win, OT loss, OT win, OT win, regulation loss, OT win, OT win. Coming into this one.
That's a lot of hockey that they're playing right now. Also, that's a lot of basically overtime coin flips that are going your way too. Like that's I'm just saying. Let's see. I've been following Hughes since before he even played the Devils. I'm just saying. I've never think. No, I didn't jinx this, Coop. Don't worry about it. Susie might have heard it on the last episode of the deep dive. Yeah, I mean that was a lot of talk from all the calls, and thank you to everybody who did call in and for participating in that kind of trade discussion that we had. It's something we'll continue to talk about really the next month as we work towards that March 4th deadline. But yeah, I mean Susie is still kind of that guy. Is really the only guy that I could see the Kraken dealing away, given where they are in the standings and how well they've played most of the season.
Yeah, pretty much.
Donnie, who else was kind of jealous seeing Horvat score his goal against us, knowing we could have traded for him? All right, RJ, go off.
After seeing that contract, not me. I'm totally fine with passing on that. Both the return that it would have taken and the contract at 8 times 8.5. He certainly would make the Kraken a better team now. Might have helped swing the balance in that particular game tonight, but the long-term consequences would not be worth it. And hey, you know what? This is not just my opinion. Ask Lou Lamoriello what he thinks of the contract. He said it's too long and too much money. So if the GM who signed it says that, I mean, what more source do I need?
RJ, that's like asking like either of our grandparents about the fact that like everything doesn't cost a nickel anymore. Like you can't use that as a defense. The fact that Lou Lamoriello, the guy who signed it, was like, yeah, it's too long and too much money. Like again, the dude's been signing contracts since back when players were making like $15,000 a year. So I don't know. I don't think I'll let you use that as an excuse. But I will say, I mean, that's right in line with the contract we assumed he would get. That's the one that we talked about on the Release the Fans with Gary, as far as if the Kraken did make a move, that's what the number would be. I still think he's a good player. I mean, yes, he's scoring at a kind of a really high clip for himself this season, but we saw it tonight. I mean, he wins faceoffs. He's kind of brutal to play against up front. I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff about his game that I like. If the Kraken weren't able to get him, then I'm at least happy that he's, in the Eastern Conference and we're not going to really have to deal with him anymore from a regional rival standpoint.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's just a really good player. See you next time, Devils joints. I'm sure we'll talk after Thursday's game. Looking forward to it.
Tune in after that one.
Yep. Lindsay, very important and serious question. Is Susie Megna the hottest D pairing in the league? Because both those men are fine. Phew.
I feel like I'm not the one to judge that best. I don't know. What do you think, Dylan?
Well, I'm trying to think. I didn't really take a look at Jacob Megna yet or anything. So like, kind of, I guess I'll not that these.
I mean, I don't know if they're even on the team. I don't know if they're the hottest on the team.
I was gonna
Dunn
say
Larson.
Dunn Larson's got to be up there, and I got to think anybody would agree with that one. I'm just trying to think of around the league. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I
That's
think
a
those.
rankings that
I
that
was gonna
someone could
say
do.
that is for sure. But I think both of those pairings have got to be up there league wide as I kind of quickly scan everything.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
saying.
I just yeah. On the surface, it's hard for me to believe given that they don't have a suite on the D pairing. So
I was gonna say
somewhere.
that this seems like a requisite to have, huh? All right, so let's see.
Well, this is good to know. I see Tammy agreeing Megna's pretty hot. This is good to know, at least, I guess, for like my coverage of the team. I like to know what the people think and what they want to see. I'll give you more Megna content then. I already know to kind of, cover Vince
Yeah,
Dunn in a certain way, given the following. Like, good to know that about Megna.
there you go. There you go. Let's see. Some more talk about Lou sabotage the Devils on his way out. Bo Horvat was one of his moves, trading Bo Horvat, the 9th pick for Schneider. I remember that. I was at that draft, by the way. I remember that live. It was in New Jersey. The place went crazy when the trade was announced, and then it quickly turned to booze once the trade was announced. Coop, how weird is it that there are 2 guys named Sebastian Aho? I was so confused. Yep.
Yep.
It's one of those things.
They're not even from the same country.
Yeah. SJ Wenberg's the hottest guy on the team, no contest. I mean, I got to stick with Larson, I think. But the Swedes, they just got it going on. There's no way around that. Let's see. Rebecca, I definitely can't recognize Megna yet, but I will agree Susie is underappreciated as the hot one on the Kraken. I would agree with that. I don't think he gets his fair shake when everything like that jawline is that impressive in person. Like, let me tell you all. And then Striatic, got to get the person who ranked the coach handsomeness to rank the D pairs. Agreed. Like that should just be a thing. Somebody should definitely do that. Sin City coming in here. Sinbin is wrong. There is no teardown. We have 12 million in cap space due to Mark Stone's injury. Vegas is looking at Vladimir Tarasenko or Patrick Kane at the trade deadline. Your source, RJ, it's bogus apparently.
Well, he wasn't saying it's what's going to happen. He was suggesting maybe it would be a good idea,
In the best
given
interest.
in their best interest, given that Mark Stone's long-term health is quite questionable with 2 recent back surgeries. Yeah, you could go in and bring in a Tarasenko or a Patrick Kane. It would be a very Vegas move to make.
Yep.
And just kind of, sell out for right now. I know Ken kind of might disagree. He thinks just build around Eichel because he's still young enough. You can do that. But that would be the other way to go. It'd certainly be the most interesting.
Yeah. You mean Eichel, that supposed franchise player?
Yes.
That supposed franchise player. I was gonna say it's Vegas. You never rebuild. You just keep kicking the can down the road, rolling the dice, going for it with trade deadline acquisitions, turning over the roster a bunch. That's I feel like there has to be that team. You know what I mean in the NHL, and I feel like Vegas is just the perfect place for it.
Yeah, absolutely. No better market for a team like that.
Definitely. Let's see. Absurdly saying, yeah, I don't get it. Wenberg isn't even the hottest Swede on the Kraken, in my opinion. So there we go. Get some. That's definitely a debate worth having, I feel like. And then Striatic, this is what needs to be discussed after every shutout loss: jaw lines. And Absurdly saying, after jaw lines, we move on to cheekbones. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens after a game like today, RJ. They gave us some good stuff to talk about, but we kind of blew it all in the first 15 minutes with the whiteboard.
I
it
know.
was just bad.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what we're left with. But hey, you know what? We've got people in here. It's always a fun time, whatever we end up talking about. Like at the start of this post game, I did not think I would be having as much fun as I'm having right now. I should know better, but yeah, this has been great.
Yeah, definitely. And
all valid ECH therapy session topics. Yep.
Exactly. And then I think the hair discussion is saved for wins too. The whole who's got the best look there. Yeah, I agree with you. That's the way these always turn into, and that's why I loved. I forget who coined the term therapy sessions. Was that a Lindsay thing?
I know Emerald City Therapy. Who?
I'm
it was so long ago because it was
a long time ago,
early last season. I don't remember. Yeah, who came up with it,
but it's very much what it is. Just because we come in here disappointed. We talk through the loss, what went wrong, all the bad stuff, and then we hang out and we all pick each other up and we end up leaving happy. Like there has never been one of these where we haven't left laughing and smiling during the halfway point, as we got maybe 10 minutes or so here left. So if anybody does have any last kind of questions or anything, go ahead and throw them in here. With the catharsis, definitely. Lindsay, also concerning, this is the first game in February, and so far we've oscillated being good and bad. Great November, awful December, amazing January, now February with the iffy face there. How did we play in October? Were we bad in October? I don't think so.
Let me check. Give me a second.
I think we were. So maybe there's something there, but I feel like this is more so just having to do with the long layoff there, given their historic performance.
4 wins, 6 losses. So not great.
All right. Well, then that fuels this idea. Yeah. Duthan pointing out at least February is a short month. So yes, if you got to have a month that's kind of rough, February is the month to have, especially when your first game isn't even played till the 7th of February. So that too also helps out a little bit, right?
Yeah. And hey, with all the games in March, if you look at the calendar, how many games are jam-packed into the month of March, you'll take that as a good month.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. All right. So yeah, we'll do a last call here for anything. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, RJ? Maybe how amazing our awesome sponsor, Queen Anne Beer Hall, is?
Yes, that's a very good thing to talk about. Queen Anne Beer Hall. Yeah, they've been awesome, part of the ECH community. Great place to watch a game. And hey, actually, I think I can talk about this. So they're going to have a chili cook-off type contest on, what is the day? Let me check. I don't know if they've advertised it yet, but I'm lined up currently to be a celebrity judge for it. So come out for the chili cook-off. I know. I am so excited about this. This is one of the highlights. Like, Dylan, you know me. You know there are very few things in this world that I would like more than to judge a chili cook-off.
Yes. Food is definitely up there amongst those things. I was just
February 22nd.
I'm laughing at the generous use of celebrity.
I know. Hey, I mean, hey, look at the celebrity judges for the All-Star game for the breakaway competition. Like it's a version of that. Hey, yes. I'll take it. As long as I get to judge a chili cook-off, I'll take it.
Definitely. I know how much that's going to mean to you. I am happy for you. Let's see, Duthan. Then we'd play great in May. That's a good question. That is a good point. I would take playing well in May.
Can you survive the end of April?
Assuming you can survive the end of April. I didn't want to say it, but yes, that's what it would be. Super happy to have Maddie and Schwartz back. Looked to me like Maddie hasn't skipped a beat. Agreed, Donnie. We talked about that a little bit up at the beginning, but yeah, they both looked super solid. Definitely happy to have them back. Absurdly saying, don't we have one of the easiest schedules in the NHL from here on out? Yes, I believe we might actually have the easiest schedule remaining in all of the NHL. So we do have that to look forward to. Tammy, any thoughts on our prospects? I haven't been following them too much lately. Yeah, so to kind of quickly summarize, because I've been doing those prospect chats for the patrons, those live streams, to kind of quickly summarize, I mean, Goyette is having an incredible year in the OHL right now, just absolute stud down there. He's been playing fantastic. Ty Nelson just had his first career OHL hat trick the other day. Definitely recommend going and looking at all those sweet power play one-timers
all
he
three
showed
of
off.
Them, bombs from the point.
They were so beautiful. You just look at that and you just go like, yeah, the Kraken power play could use that. Like, I think we could use that. I think we could find a place to have that on the team. So he's been playing really well. Shane, when he's been healthy and in the lineup for Windsor, has been playing very well at 2-point game pace, almost a goal a game pace. He hasn't missed anything there. I don't know that Windsor was like has the best like team around him. So we'll see like kind of what that looks like come Memorial Cup playoff time. But he's been playing lights out. He's just been in and out of the lineup a little bit with the lower body injury. Who else? Jagger Firkus just keeps doing what he's doing over there in the WHL, which is scoring at a ridiculous clip, despite the fact that everybody's like 3 feet taller than him. It's just fun to watch. And then, the Firebirds, just as a whole, every single one of them are doing great as they're in first place in their division. I mean, the Kraken prospect pool, for as shallow as it is, it's like fully loaded. Like that's a lot of big fish in that little pond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like the metaphor there. Yeah, they're all doing very well. I'm certainly saying asking. Speaking of Goyette, what did he get suspended for? Do you know?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I remember seeing that. I do not know off the top of my head, so I can look that up if you want to take the next question.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. Um, let's see. Duthan, internationally renowned media personality. Exactly, exactly. Someone in Canada must know who I am. Um,
Hey, we've got people in Sweden, in Finland, that
Australia,
have listened to us.
Netherlands. Yeah.
Definitely Australia. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Okay.
very
I'm
legit.
good then. Yeah. That is legit. All right. Cool. Cool. I'll have them add that to my intro at the beer hall when
Yes.
they're announcing the judges for the chili competition. And then at DJ and Tay, Queen Anne Beer Hall, great place to celebrate a Kraken win or drink away a Kraken loss. That should be their tagline right there.
It really should be. Drink responsibly. I feel like compelled legally to say that.
Yes, yes. Drink responsibly.
I'm trying to find like anything about the Goyette suspension, but everything on the Sudbury Wolves website is just about Mark Stahl's jersey retirement. Which, congrats to Mark Stahl.
Yeah, I googled Goyette suspended, and then this the top thing that comes up: Massachusetts firefighter suspended over suspended license.
Yeah,
Mr. Donald Goyette.
I'll get back to you on that one. Is the bottom line.
Yes.
It's like when we looked up Ryan Winterton's injury status, and the only thing out there was a CBS News article quoting us.
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
It's like, all right, so there hasn't been any new news. We talked about this actually during that last live prospect chat. There is not a lot of media that covers these OHL teams. So like with injuries and stuff, it's really hard to get any information because it isn't like the NHL where there's people like yourself, RJ, who are there for morning skates or practices who can then all go in and ask the coaches questions. Like they can just go about that stuff without like any media person really getting in there and trying to ask them questions or anything. So the flow of information when it comes to injuries, suspensions, all that kind of stuff, it's a trickle, if that, at times, with major juniors. So that it does sometimes become an issue there. Let's see. Donato Benier's Eberly line, please, from Lindsay. I could see that happening next game, to be honest, too.
I could too.
Once they know like the situation with Berkey and whether or not Sprong will need to come in for him, I could definitely see that being a change they make. Yes, Rebecca Firebirds are in first place. Is it all the AHL? I know they're in the first place in the West.
Well, Stratic pointing out first in the AHL by points percentage.
Points percentage. All right, so there we go. So kind of, it's complicated. Donnie, it's too bad we're so stacked at forward. We can't bring the circus to the big league. Yeah, he still needs to put on weight. Like he's not even going to be ready next year just from the weight percentage. Standpoint. I still think back to the preseason he played this year, and the way like just anytime he was just touched, he was just down on the ice. Like he can't do that. But he is a smart enough guy. I mean, you watch his highlights at the WHL level, it's insane how guys just lose him. And I don't know if that's just because he's so small that like they just, when they do a quick scan, these defensemen with their heads on the swivel, that they're just looking right over the top of his head. But the fact that he can just slide right in and out behind them so consistently is just remarkable to watch. It's really fun.
Yeah, definitely. I've been watching some of his highlights this season, and I mean, he's probably the most consistent of all these scorers too for the Kraken. Just game after game doing his thing.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Stream's complete. Jay's dropping in to say, like the stream.
There we go.
We've done it, everybody. We're all good. Thanks, Jay, for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed your time off away from Kraken hockey here. I think that's going to do it for this post game, though, everybody. Tough loss. First game back, though. We can kind of put it in the rearview mirror pretty quickly here and look forward to Thursday and Friday. They're going to be tough games, but they should be fun games.
Yeah, definitely. Back to back, against the Devils and Rangers. Those are going to be two really fun opponents and two good opponents too. A couple good measuring stick games, and the Kraken are going to come out motivated. I can't wait for Thursday.
Yep. All right. Rebecca was able to suss it out here. It looks like check to the head there for Goyette and for his suspension, 4-game suspension there. Duthan, thanks for the stream and the therapy. Do we not have prospects with our ECHL affiliate? Edward asking. We do, but they're like kind of guys we just sort of signed to fill that roster. Like they're not like drafted guys yet, I don't believe.
Yeah, there's no actual under Kraken contract, no skaters.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, everybody. We will see you all on Thursday.